Hi there, and welcome to this edition of Empowerment Hour. And I don't know about everyone else who's listening in today, but I can't believe we're at the end of August. Where has the time gone? Where has lockdown gone? What's happened to all of that? It's just sort of gently floated by, which is great in many ways. And I can't wait. I'm going on holiday in September, so I know that I'm wishing my life away in many ways. So listeners, I hope you're all well. Once again, this is pre-recorded, and the wonderful Amy, our station manager, and does all the editing of the shows for those of us who are technically challenged. And she sorts it all out and makes it airwave worthy. Thank goodness. Left to me, I'm not quite sure what would happen. I'm just really grateful that there's someone there who can do all of that once I've done this recording. So what are we talking about on today's show? Well, today is a very interesting one for me, and I love this topic. It's all about art. As I have very, very arty children, it's very interesting for me to talk to someone who also loves art and is coming up with a concept for assisting not only artists, but actually what she wants to do is talk about how art, the buying of it, can be empowering for people. So in particular, sort of for women, and how we can use the money that we earn to actually invest that money. So I'm going to say a very lovely, I'm going to say good morning to a very lovely Elaine Marks. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Denise.
Thank you for coming on the show. I do the recordings on a Sunday morning so that it's quiet and the house is quiet and there's no deliveries going by, and there's rarely does anybody come to the front door while I'm doing these. So that's why we're all up bright and early on a Sunday. So thank you for being here. So
Thank
Elaine,
you for having me.
No, I think it's great. Because a lot of my guests over lockdown have come from far and wide, even abroad, and you're down the road, so that's nice as well. Yes, so we're in Chester together. So Elaine, just a brief introduction to you and what it is you do, where you're moving towards.
Sure. So thank you so much for the time. So hi everyone. My concept at the moment is I'm looking for an alternative career. I would like to move into art. I've always been interested in art. I'm a very amateur artist myself. So I'm looking to create a platform called A Start in Art. It's all really focused on bringing together collectors of art like myself and new artists to help them to start to build up portfolio and take their creativity seriously as a career.
Cool. What's your background? Just give us that.
So my background is I'm an IT program manager. I've worked on lots of different transformation programs, so that's my day job. And so through my knowledge of technology and most recently the way that we create platforms to communicate with the rest of the world, I'm going to utilize my IT knowledge to help launch the next stage of my career.
I love that you're blending the art, and I guess IT can be seen as a science in many ways, can't it? There's so much technical stuff goes on there. Thanks for all of that. What I'm going to do is just, I like to keep the intro short and sweet, and then we've got more time to chat as the show goes on. So we're going to take a break now, and we'll be back after this break. Hi there, welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour. I'm your host, Denise Oliver, and today my guest is Elaine Marks. And Elaine is doing that wonderful thing of blending careers, I guess, in a way, blending the day job, which is in IT. And what is it you do in IT? So you create programs? Is that what you do?
Yeah, so my IT job is essentially managing people. So it's an IT project manager. So I manage projects, which is essentially asking people to do things very nicely to a timeline and a scope. And usually we come in with the amount of money they gave us to create a new benefit for a company.
Cool. And then you're blending that with your love of art. So when did your love of art start? Can you recall that moment when you realized that perhaps there was something lacking in your world, and so you blended these things together?
That's a really lovely question, because it does evoke a memory of my parents' love of art, and the first time that they took me to a gallery. I can remember that it was actually a local gallery, Port Sunlight Gallery, and we're very fortunate to have a lot of extremely famous pre-Lafayette paintings in that gallery. And I can remember distinctly the feeling of looking at these pretty paintings and be very, very interested. So I've always, loved drawing, painting, etc., from a personal level. But essentially, when I was able to start to take art more seriously as I got older, I started to look at how much art I could actually collect myself, on a very amateur level. But fortunately, over the years, I've been able to acquire a collection that is now sort of looking at from an investment point of view, and spotting artists, spotting what would have a commercial value, etc. And so, with regards to my collection, which is my passion, that sort of helps me get through the day, exciting weekend jaunts, looking at art, going to studios just to look at a piece of art for my portfolio. That's really where I've decided that I'm at a point now where I would like to share the experience that I've had through my art collection. And most importantly, for women, I think it's really important that we look at our investment aspects. So I've started to look at it from a different perspective, and it's blended into an idea that I would like to help other people start a collection, and also be able to connect them to artists who may be just starting out, etc.
So can you guarantee that the art that people buy will go up in value?
No, there's no guarantee. So that is with any investment, I think there's an element of risk, whether it's art, whether it's gold, whether it's stocks and shares. I think when you start to look at commodities for investment value, the first thing that you have to have in your mind is that I could lose this money. So I think with stocks and shares and commodities, that's probably, it takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that. And obviously it depends on your financial circumstances. But with art, my philosophy was that if I bought a piece of art and it was worth nothing in 10 years' time, that I would still love the piece that I bought. So for me, my connection to art is the way that it evokes the emotion, and that it makes me aware of, it takes me out of myself, and it really sort of makes me think about different aspects of creativity, and the image of the art. It's a form of being in the present, but a different kind of meditation, because it takes you out of yourself. So if you are to look at art from an investment portfolio point of view, that you have to go in with a clear understanding that there's no guarantee. But I think that from what I would be offering from the platform perspective and the start in art, is how I looked at different aspects that had a huge investment potential. So, for example, there was an artist that I bought, I think it was almost 7 years ago, and essentially I just bought it because I loved the painting, and at that point in my life I really connected with the painting, the image. And so I bought it for very, very small value, and now his paintings have just shot up in value, beyond what you could imagine. And it's just based on popularity. It's about the way that the gallery have managed its portfolio, and also the artist himself. I've met him a couple of times, and he's really, really nice person. So, you know, obviously people are going to sort of warm to his approachability and his vulnerability. So I think it's a really good point that you have to go in with the aspect that it is a risk. But I think that for women, for me personally as a woman, that it's a really good opportunity to collect art, because you have, you know, you beautify your home, you have that beautiful hobby that, you know, can actually really enhance your home. But also at the same time, that with regards to investments, there is a huge opportunity to invest in art. Art has become one of the most valuable investment portfolios in the last few years. So, you know, it's that financial advisors are starting to take it seriously.
Cool.
So that's the change.
Yeah, cool. You'll have to come and have a look at my house. I've got art all over the place, and I've no idea whether any of it's of any value or not. A lot of it's my children's stuff. So
it's priceless then.
The walls are covered, smothered even. I'm not sure where I'd put anything else. I love art. I have to be honest. I don't get it a lot of the time. But we'll come back and talk about the different types of art that you're hoping to put on your platform. We're going to a break now. Hi there, welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour. I'm Denise Oliver, and my guest today is Elaine Marks. And we're talking about art, and in particular, investing in art as a long-term thing, really, isn't it? Not just buy a print because it matches your sofa type of thing. This is something else. This is something that is not without risk, because all investment has risk associated. And if you're that way inclined, and you know you love that sort of let's say that area of life, but you're not an artist yourself, because I'm really not an artist, but I have bought from local artists over the years. And I just love my folk. Like you say, you look at something and the emotion it brings up, it's like, oh, I love that. I'm so happy with that. And the one thing that I love about art is how I can move it around my house. If it's not working in that place, I'll move it somewhere else. If I fall out of love with it, it goes somewhere else. And the cupboard under the stairs is usually the so at the moment, let's look at how would we choose that work of art? What would you say is the thing that we're looking for, and how is your platform going to assist us with that?
So there's two aspects. The first thing is when you're looking up to buy a piece of art, I would always recommend that you love it. I'm not the type of art collector that would buy something for investment value, but there is a lot of art collectors that do that. That, you know, they have no desire to put the piece of art on their wall, and it may stay in an attic for years. And that is one aspect. But certainly, if for clients coming to start with art, we wouldn't advise that. The first point of principle is that you enjoy the piece. The second point is that it has to be an original. I would say if you're looking at art from an investment point of view, buying a print, even a limited edition, although they do have a significant value, you must look for an original, because that's the only piece that exists in the world, and that's the potential of the investment. And then the third aspect is researching the artists. So the background of the artists, and if they're being taken seriously by galleries, etc., which is obviously in the longer term journey of an artist's career. But what the Start in Art would be doing, we would be giving new artists the opportunity to display their art for people who are looking for art as a potential. So it's a real risk-based approach. So, for example, if you spotted a piece of art by an artist that literally has just come out of art school, but you love the piece and you have the money available, I would say I wouldn't hesitate in buying it, because even if it's, so obviously if the objective is for investment value, you will have a return on that piece of art. It may not be millions, but who knows? It's so subjective. Who knows that Banksy was going to be, create $1 million art? Who knew that Damien Hirst would be taken seriously? So it is a very risk-based, but the fun of it is that you have a piece that you love, and it's about a commodity that is about our emotions, not just about having a share certificate to prove that you've bought so many shares in a company. So that's the difference. I think with regards to choosing the piece, you would have availability on a Stock from Art services, that if, for example, you wanted a specific piece for a specific room, we could help you research and find a piece that you're looking for as well. So there's an art scout element to it, that we could help you if, for example, you've bought a new house. You've always wanted a really nice statement piece, as we call them, above the fireplace, but don't know where to start. We would be able to help you with that service as well.
Wow, you've really thought this through. I love it. I love how you're taking something that could be looked at as what originally started as a hobby for you, and you knowing that you got how to invest, plus the skills you've got as an IT expert. And it's just like, wow, you're creating something in a time when a lot of people would think, wow, you must be mad to do this in a time that is very uncertain. So let's take a break now, and I'd love to come back and talk to you about what that's like for you. Hi there, welcome back. This is Empowerment Hour, and it's all about empowering ourselves with the buying of art. So we are in this very strange time, and my guest Elaine Marks has chosen to start a business that combines her day job with her love of art. So you're creating a platform, a start in art for anyone, artists and people who wish to invest. Why now?
I think because of the global situation that we've been in, and had a lot of time to rethink what's after. So I think this is one of a lot of friends, I'm sure you've heard from a lot of your guests, it is a period of time where most of us have reflected on our life and think about really, what is post-lockdown going to look like for us. And it's something that the idea of starting art I've had in my head for a very long time. And as I've sort of become more confident in my own collecting skills, I also very recently, on a holiday in Zug with my partner in Switzerland, very recently met a international art dealer who deals with the very top end of art. And she's a lovely, really inspirational lady. And I thought, well, I don't have any delusion that I'm going to go into that area. But what I can do is, and I think it's probably part of my character as well, is I like to have accessibility. I don't really agree with elitism, and I don't really agree that art is only for certain people. So I like the aspect that art is for everybody. I also know a lot of artists who are personal friends who have made a great living of it, but also I think that the idea and the concept of a start in art would help them for the next level. So this idea has been in my head for a long time. I think because I've had so much time to reflect on what I'm doing, because obviously our social life has we've had to be safe, and we've had to become more insular, which means that we've had time to reflect on our journeys so far. During lockdown, I just started to map out a very basic business plan and the concept. And I think at this point, I've decided to take myself seriously. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'll let you know in a couple of years' time.
No, I think it's a great idea. One of the things I know, as I say, I've had children, they're in their late 20s, early 30s now, go through art college, get first degrees, love what they do, and be rubbish at selling. And I think this is one of the big problems for artists. They adore what they do and they have no business sense. And so you're coming in as that person who goes, really, £30? Let's look at this. You know, how much time has it taken you? How much does it cost you materials wise? Because it can cost you a lot more than that to frame something. You know, all of that has to go into this. And I just think it's great what you're doing. I also love that idea of empowering us to invest. And I think maybe art, just even now in these days, just isn't taken seriously. It's not taken as not a real job. And so to actually be able to support artists and go, actually, if you love this sort of stuff, why not buy one of these rather than 6 IKEA prints?
Definitely. I think that's a really good point, that we unfortunately, I think it has improved greatly in the last sort of 10 years. But I think that for anyone going to school at the moment, we still have that focus on the science and the maths, and we're not all scientists, which obviously extremely important at the moment. And we're all very aware of how scientists will help us identify a vaccine for the virus. But at the same time, not everyone fits into that box. And if you are creative, I think the education structure needs to really take that seriously, because there's so many jobs in creative industries now because of technology enabling that. So you don't have to be a maths or a science genius to have a successful career as a creative. And I think that is changing, and I hope the education structure starts to change to reflect that. And obviously you still need that structure and the goal, which sometimes creatives don't have. But then that's something that, you know, the company that I would like to start, you know, that's something that I'm hoping that we can be able to offer an artist, to help them really focus on their creativity, but also to create a career for themselves and a living. And I couldn't think that there's an interesting quote that came out recently, and I really can't remember where I saw it, but it's about having a job that fuels your soul. I really like that phrase, and I think that's really important, because to stay in somewhere in a job that you're not happy with can be quite detrimental to your mental health. You can't do it forever, for sure, you know, because it just makes you very unhappy. So I think it's quite a nice aspect of the times that we live in now, that creatives are being taken more seriously. And of course, in the UK, we do value our arts greatly. It's part of our culture, which is fantastic.
Cool. Let's take another break. And then what I'd like to find out from you for our final session is how anybody can get in touch with you. That would be really cool. Hi there, welcome back for our final session talking about art. So Elaine, just give us all the details that we need about how we're going to get in touch with you.
So essentially, the first point of contact is myself, and we are in the process of building our platform, and we're hoping to launch before Christmas. So if you are interested in a start in art, if you want to talk about an art collection, I'm more than happy to share my own experience and ideas, what went well, what didn't go so well. Always happy to share experience, good or bad. So please do get in touch with me. Should I share my telephone details? Or?
You're happy to do that?
Yeah, so my telephone number is 07720 315 634. And also, if you're interested in a statement piece of art, and you would like some help in sourcing that art and some ideas, I'm more than happy to help you with that as well. And I'll also share my email details as well.
Cool.
Thank you.
I mean, I know a lot of people don't consider that art is important, and we've had this discussion before, But without art, you wouldn't have the designs of your clothes. You know, without art, you wouldn't walk into IKEA and be able to choose the colour palette that's in season. I feel a bit like, what's that film with Anne Hathaway where she goes to work for the magazine and where her boss...
Oh, The Devil Wears Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada, where... What's she called? What's the actress's name? Meryl Streep does this whole spiel about the colour of the season, and without this, without that, without the other, and how much it does matter. And yes, we are influenced in many ways commercially, but actually without those people behind the scenes actually sitting at their desk, understanding colour, understanding a colour palette, understanding how to make it clash or make it go, you know, be smooth, we wouldn't have 9/10 of what we look at. It wouldn't be there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I also think that cavemen wouldn't have drawn on walls unless art was part of who we be.
Exactly. We could do a whole run of art history. It's really exciting, very exciting.
Yeah. And then I guess the other thing that I've become more aware of is that obviously art, in terms of its provenance, where it's come from, has it actually been created by this person or not, is really important as well. So if someone's going to invest with you and choose a work of art, what do you actually then advise them going forward?
So my advice is, when you're investing for art, is always buy an original. And with an original piece of painting, you'll get a certificate of authenticity that is signed by the artist. So this is where it becomes really difficult for young artists to start off, because they may not be that organised. They will sign the painting. So if you don't have a certificate, always make sure the painting's signed. What you're looking for when you're reselling is that you can prove that the artist created that piece. Now, if you buy from a gallery, you will get all the certificates, you will get an invoice, you will get a certificate, etc. But when you're not buying from an official gallery, and this is the gap that we have, but if you are buying directly from an artist, just ask the artist for some kind of document that proves that they have made, created that painting. One signed with signature. I'll just share a bit of experience here. When I first started to buy, I went, oh yes, to me, from that artist. Very egotistical, but that is actually the wrong thing to do. You don't want your own name on it in case you need to resell it. Just share that little bit of experience there. But the pieces that are to me, I doubt I'll ever sell. But it's something that I think all collectors make that mistake. You want just the artist's signature. Obviously, the painting itself will be signed, but with regards to documentation, and this is something that with our platform we will go through with you. If you're buying from an artist, there's an element of certification that you need. And I think that we would advise the artist on what they need to do to fulfill that criteria.
Cool, that's amazing. We are coming to the end of the show now. Elaine, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. And seriously, a start in art is phenomenal. I think it sounds amazing, as I'm a mum of kids who are very arty, and you're very welcome to come and visit my home and see what you think of all the stuff that's all over the place. And I wish you all the best with it. I really do. Do keep me informed, and if there's anything I can do to promote in the future going forward, I look forward to seeing you on social media and showing us what you're selling. So you're actually, just to recap, a start in art with you, and you're looking for the artists who wish to launch themselves or carry on going forward if they've got stuck in some way. Plus you're looking for people who are ready to invest in art.
Yes, that's it. Great. Thanks so much, Denise. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. And I really wish you all the best with it. So thank you to everyone listening today. Thank you, Elaine. Really grateful to you for being here. And just stay tuned to Calon FM after Empowerment Hour. There's many more shows coming up. So stay with us and I'll be back next week. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.